you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash?
Thank you very much. Are you going to share? You've already talked a lot, man. This one. Okay, you're up next.
I know I got to talk already, but I've got to put this in there. I just didn't feel it was appropriate to tell it in sanctuary. But when Monty came to be our youth pastor there in Dodge City, one day I was called to do a funeral, and it was at the funeral home. The gentleman was not in the local church. He was just a friend of someone in the church. So Monty came to my office. He said, "Do you think I ought to go with you to the funeral?" And I said, "Yeah, you probably should, because Kansas has some different customs than do other states. So you need to be familiar with the customs." He said, "Okay, I'll go." So on the way over there to the funeral home, he starts asking questions like this. "Hey, do you think they leave the pants on a guy when he's in the casket?" I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "Well, they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't even have to leave the shoes on." He said, "I just always wondered about that." And I said, "Well, I don't have a clue." So we go and we have the funeral service, and then we come back to the church, and I go back to my office, and I hadn't been there very long, and then Janelle burst into my office just almost crying. She said, "Tell me it's not true." I said, "What?" Says, "Monty just came back from that funeral, and he told me," he said, "they took the guy out of the casket and propped him up on the front seat so he could listen to his own funeral." She said, "Surely they didn't do that, did they?" I said, "Come on, think about who you're married to."
Good evening. I'm Noel, and I'm a member of this wonderful church and belong to this wonderful family. I've known Pastor Monty since 2012. I'm fairly a new baby Nazarene. Pastor Monty touched my life since 2012. I walked into these doors lonely, just out of it, that I knew my life was not together. Everyone has issues, everyone has problems. But Janelle and Pastor Monty accepted me with open arms, and I will never forget his kindness. Never will forget that. Both of them, Janelle and Monty, were just, I looked up to him like mentors in my life. And I looked up to them as a relationship, how wonderful it grew in love. And if you have Christ in your relationship, as the center of your relationship, then that is gonna blossom. And that's what I learned. And I had the privilege of being baptized by Pastor Monty about 2 years ago. And the last class that he taught for a membership, I became a Nazarene, was a few months ago. And I'm very honored to be in this church, and I welcome his family here tonight. I've never met any of his family, but I'm sure you guys are all great. Thank you, Pastor Monty. You're loved always.
When I was 2 years ago, I had a 3 years ago, I had a problem. My dad's mother died. She passed away. And one day, Monty came to Oklahoma, and he said, I gave him a cup of coffee, and he said, "What's your problem?" And I said, "My dad's mother died." And he said, "Well, she's in a better place right now, but we'll miss her, but the Lord is with her."
Tell who you are.
I'm Marshal Bacon, Monty's favorite nephew.
And ladies, I think he's single. You got one? Oh, okay. Very good. All right, anybody else? Some stories. I know one time for us, Monty and myself, we had a few of us that would get together and we would go to a Raiders game and we'd hop on BART and we would go over and watch one of these games. And one of the times that we were there was Dave Curtis and myself and Bill Alajaji and Monty. And we get to the turnstile, and if you look at the Raiders tickets, we had 4 tickets, and then we had a receipt for the tickets that looked similar to a ticket. So we decided, well, let's give Monty the receipt, and we'll just go ahead and go ahead of us. So we get to the turnstile, we each give them our tickets, they rip our ticket, we all go in, and then we all kind of stop waiting to see. He's going to get stopped, they're going to frisk him, he's going to not know, this is going to be so great. He handed it to him, smiled at the guy ripped it and let him through. We're like, man, we could have scalped that for good money. Anybody else would like to share some stories? No.
Janelle just told me that I need to actually tell an appropriate story. That would be G-rated. PG, parental guidance. I'm sitting next to Joe and Jenny, and I said to them, what? Like, come on, we've got to tell a story. What stories can we tell? And like Brent said earlier, well, there was this one time. Oh, no, can't tell you that. A lot of my most favourite memories of Monty, basically, the conversations or the laughter all revolved around him laughing at me or making fun of something, which I don't tend to get embarrassed very often, but there was one time that he got me a beauty. Actually, I can't tell that story, I'm just joking. We were talking about just youth things that we went on, and the family will attest to this, Brent will attest to this. Monty would get to that stage where he literally would just go crazy, and you'd stand there going, wow, what? Lay off the coffee, mate, lay off the coffee. And he'd just come out with screaming or just a crazy face or whatever it was. And we were talking about a night that we went on an all-nighter, and he started driving the youth van at night with his sunglasses on. Very safe indeed. So those liability insurance things that he read up on, yep, that works for him. One of my memories, it's actually another one about, like, he laughed at me, but I could never snort. It's a funny thing, I know, but like a pig, like, I could never do it. And one of the girls in the youth group actually taught me to do it. I know that sounds funny, but you can actually you can train somebody to snort. But one day we had been at a youth camp on Lake Shasta, and we were driving back, and I was so tired, and I was in the front seat, and when you're tired and you're sleeping and you kind of, it's drool's hanging out, and maybe not drool, and I snorted, but I woke myself up snorting, and I just kept saying, I snorted. So from then on, every time I saw Monty, he would say to me, I snorted, in that voice. But there's plenty of other stories that you guys can tell, and we've all got memories like that. So just share something funny. How he laughed at you or with you.
Sorry, the insurance will cover that, I promise. Hey, while people are coming up right now, if you've got stories, come on up. In the meantime, too, if you were here and you were part of one of his youth groups, at any stage, any place, whatever, head right over here to the basketball hoop, and we want to get a picture of kind of alumni of his. We want to know that the survivors are still out there. So, okay, you know what? Do you want me to bring the mic to you guys? Would that make it easier? Are you guys just afraid to come forward? Too much? Here we go. All right, here we go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Montez. And though I'm not a member of this church, my daughters are. My daughter Lillian and my daughter Kendra are very much part of this family. And so I wanted to give my greatest thanks to everybody in here who's shown my family love. And I wanted to commend Monty and tell his family that he is still here. You see it through God's love. And as a leader of this family, you still see God's love in everybody who is sitting in this room here today. And Monty especially has touched my daughter's heart and soul and shown them very positive things that this world has to offer. So thank you so much for all of your support and for all of your love. And may we continue this tradition of God's love, and may Monty's love live on forever as well. Thank you. Okay.
By the way, hanging in there, yeah, like a crazy monkey. There's no other way.
You're up, man. It's all you. It's all you. Oh, okay. Hey, while they're taking a picture over there, you can see on the tables the centerpieces that are there. There's different paraphernalia from different sports teams, and there's lighthouses. If you knew Monty, he loved lighthouses. And then there's some books there, and then there's some personal pictures as well there. If you could do me a favor, though, those are there for you guys to look. I know there were some that were interested in maybe taking those home with you. Please don't take those pictures home with you. Those are the family's pictures. So. And we've got a huge selfie going on over there. Okay.
For all the youth, all those who are taking a picture right here, right now. The last day Monty was a youth pastor over here, he preached a sermon. What was the name of that sermon? There you go. Go fart, people. Fart in love. Who is next? Oh, by the way, perhaps it's, in my only case, his favorite expression to me, and I don't know if it had to do with the fact that I'm Mexican. I'm not Mexican. What was it, Janelle? What was it? Huh? Taco, tequila, señorita. I said señora now, but...
All right. So, does anybody else have a story they'd like to share? Raise your hand. I will come to you. I am mobile. Mostly. All right, here we go. Oh, here we go. Good.
Hello, I'm Brian from the Concord Church, and the story that makes me really think of Monty was we were on a men's advance one time, and I was in the shower getting ready, and I hear the door burst open, and the plumbing in Santa Cruz was not very good. and the door burst open, and somebody flushed the toilet and turned the faucet on. And the water went cold, and I let out a little scream, and he says, "Good morning, Brian. How are you doing?" And that was kind of Monty's heart. Later on that day, we were with a group of about 1,000 women, and I don't know how a men's advance would get with 1,000 women up in Santa Cruz, but somehow we were up there with a bunch of women. And so we were all having breakfast, and Monty came in a little late, and this was after this shower incident. And so Monty comes and he walks in, and there's a line, 100 ladies long, and there's Monty sitting in the back with a big smile on his face, and he looked over and winked at me, and that was just Monty's heart. I just love him so much. He's had such a big impact in my life. I know towards the end when he was sick, he would always ask about my family. He would ask about my wife and my kids. And, that's just a testimony to his heart. And I will love him and miss him. But I know he is in a better place. But I do love him and miss him a lot. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Steve Peters. I hate to do this to you, John. So, here's the situation. John was the pastor and Monty was the youth pastor. And John says, "Hey, Steve, you're a custodian?" I said, "Yeah, I work for the school district." He says, "Hey, I got a job. Can you help me and Monty clean the grease trap back here in the kitchen?" "Oh, yeah, you'll be doing this for the Lord." So I show up here. I don't think that grease trap had been cleaned in 20 years. So we pop the lid off that grease trap, and John says, "Hey, I got to go take care of some church business. I'll be right back." Me and Monty had our hands in that grease trap. It smelled the whole sanctuary out here up. I mean, it was terrible. And me and Monty were bagging that grease up and taking it out to the garbage dumpster. We wiped it out, got it all nice and clean, and John came back in. "Hey, man, can I help at all?" I said, "No, we got it, John." That was a lot of fun, though. We did the Lord's work that day, cleaning that grease trap. All right.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I used to attend here a number of years ago now. I wore many hats and performed many duties. I do have a request of one individual here. I don't know who they are. There's a minivan right outside the door, and it has the license plate Dietique. Who might that person be? I need to move your van, please. No takers? Dietique. Yeah, no numbers, just Dietique.
How you doing? Okay. There's a van, I guess, that needs to be moved. I don't know. So Jenny and I were in Monty's youth group, and we were really good friends. So we thought we'd come up here together for moral support. For me, the thing that I just can't get Monty's voice out of my head, and it's like different, like specific phrases that like go with specific memories, little things like we used to play this card game at all of the youth events called Scum, and you didn't want to be scum, but if you were scum, like Monty would not let you hear the end of it, and I can hear in my head him going, "Scum Jenny, Scum Jenny, Scum Jenny, Scum Jenny, Scum Jenny." I can't hear that. We also sang to him one time.
Oh yeah, we at a snow blast we had a talent show, and Alex and I serenaded him. I feel like I laid across the piano at one point, but I could just be like inserting that into the memory. But we serenaded him the song "Say a Little Prayer for You." It was really sweet, and he loved it. Do you want to say?
Yeah, and he made fun of you, and that was a good thing. I don't know why I feel like I remember all of the times he made fun of Jenny. But I call you Al still to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. And he still called me Jenny Brown, like yesterday, even though I'm now Roethlisberger. But I will say, I've known Monty over half my life. I was thinking about it. He was my youth pastor, and I just remember he would pick me up from school, and we would go get a coffee and go to the bookstore and just read books and talk. We were Anne of Green Gables, both Anne of Green Gables fans, and we were definitely kindred spirits. And I just remember every time I would talk to him, he was just so concerned about my walk with Christ, and that's really, the reason it made me who I am, He was always challenging me. He was probably one of the only people in my life that challenged me, and was not only challenged but really kind of made me look at myself, and didn't take anything lightly. He was very concerned about my spiritual growth and my love for Christ, and I will always remember that. And I don't know, there's probably a lot of things I could say, a lot of stories I can share, but Janelle and Monty raised my boys for me, so that was nice, because it's kind of hard. But you guys mean so much to me. You're my family, and, I could probably talk forever. Monty was there when my brother died and when my dad died, and just such a deep part of my life, so.
Thank you. Yep, I don't have anything funny to say, but I was going to say that, going off what she said, every encounter with Monty left me wanting to improve on myself, yet I never once felt judged or looked down on or less than I should be, but I still wanted to be better, and I'm really, really going to miss that. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Laura. I'm Janelle's sister, Monty's sister-in-law. And I wasn't sure if I had Monty's story to tell because I have so many stories. But I was 13 when Monty joined our family. And Monty had like a crazy memory. He remembered everything, which was not good. Especially not when you're 13. Well, I think they started dating when I was like 10. So I was like the little bratty sister-in-law. And I was the one that was always in the room when he was at the house. And so I was the one that my dad would chase out of the room. And so Monty would always talk about how I would go stomping up the stairs, and my dad would call me down to walk up quietly, and I would stomp back up the stairs, and he never let me live that down till like just a couple months ago. And lots of other stories that, because of his crazy memory. But I spent a lot of time with Monty and Janelle. I'd always beg my mom to let me go spend time during the summer with them, and lots of fun memories, and I would take care of their kids, and it just hit me how old I am because now their kids are taking care of my kid. But
Which is me.
But Monty was the kind of person who I think everybody knows he made you feel very cared about when he talked to you. He was very concerned about how you were feeling, and he made you feel like you were just the person that was the most important person there. He wanted to know how you were. And I've been going through crazy health problems lately, and a huge concern of mine has been how it affects my son. And he was helped me a lot in telling me that his mom had a lot of health problems while he grew up. And he told me just this past year, after I'd spent a time in ICU and was really sick, and I'd been very concerned about Marshall, and he told me, he said, well, Laura, I think I ended up as a pretty good person, even for a Democrat, because he and I differ on political views. But, so did I just tell something I wasn't supposed to? Anyway, oops, well, now my sister's sitting over here with the red face. Maybe I went a little too far on that. Anyway, he's a great guy, and we're gonna miss him a lot. But he's left a tremendous legacy behind, so.
Hey, so I'm Kaylin. So I'm a member of the youth group here, and one of my favorite continual memories of Monty is whenever we would play this game called Prince of Paris, and so pretty much the game is where someone hides a hat, and not necessarily like numbers, and it goes really fast. So Monty, whenever he would be the caller, everyone would secretly groan and be like, oh no, Monty's calling, we're all gonna fail at this, because he would go so fast, and if you messed up you would out. It was horrible. But then I remember as soon as he would start doing it, all of our groaning and complaining about how we were going to lose was always going to go away. And every time we played it, it was my favorite thing ever. And I'm really going to miss playing that game, because no matter, even if someone else called it, it was never the same as Monty calling it. So yeah, that's my fond memory of Monty.
Good job.
No, thank you.
Come on, here you go.
Good evening, everyone. I have a little memory of Monty. I'm not only thankful that he was a fabulous youth pastor for my kids, Tiana, Stephen, and Shalina, but the thing I remember was when he first came to be the youth pastor here. John Moore will probably remember this. But they sat him, we were all in the same room with a huge crowd, and there was a panel up here in the front. And I think it was like the staff men, wasn't it, Janelle? And somebody had some bottles of hot sauce in different levels of hotness. And the goal was each of the pastors, they were supposed to prove what a tough, strong youth pastor that Monty was going to be. So they each had teaspoons, and I think it was Laz Reinhardt that would go by and put a little drop of this hot sauce in each spoon, and they had to eat it, each of these pastors. Well, it got to the hottest one. I think it was called Dave's Insanity Sauce or something like that. And when it came to Monty, he was trying to be so cool and tough and strong that he just grabbed the bottle and just started drinking it, and he started choking. I mean, we almost had to call the emergency ambulance. Because, do you remember that? He was like, that was the end of that little fun joke, so anyway.
So, my name is Daniel. I've been part of this church since I was 1. And to give you an idea, I'll be 27 in 3 weeks. So, I've gone through youth pastors, but none stick out quite as Monty. And I see a few familiar faces here from a certain Willow Creek mission trip. And those who were there, I'm hoping you all remember the goulash incident where I ended up wearing the goulash. It was a weekend. It was for sure fun. And needless to say, I don't know how to put this, not everyone could contain their excitement to where we were having regular bathroom issues with the toilets. And we ended up just chalking it up, and poor Patty Robichaud, she was our scapegoat. We chalked it up to her dosing everyone with Metamucil because she was used to cooking for Jack Robichaud. And so that was just the running joke. That whole trip was, who put the Metamucil in here? Who brought the Metamucil? And yeah, that was just one of many memories with Monty Stewart, obviously. So one that sticks out.
Let me just add to that story, because there was a lot of using the facilities, but there was also a lot of blockage of the facilities. And as incredible credit to Monty Stewart, he would go and unblock those things every single time. And there was one particular occasion where the plunger, or whatever you call it, wasn't working. So he used another device to clean it out.
All right, does anybody else have some stories that they'd like to share? Anything you'd like to say? Okay.
Hello, my name is Geraldine Heidelberg, and I've been coming here and volunteering on the first and third Saturday, and I always look forward to seeing Monty and his wife and all of the family working at the church. And we work here serving, the less fortunate food and stuff, and we have this whole place. Sometimes it they have a lot of people coming. They have a lot of people coming here for food on Saturday, so we serve them, and they come here early in the morning. And I just love to see how, I don't care how it be all unorganized, and we can't find this. Monty just have this smile on his face, like get to work and get the job done. And I just always look forward to that, because he just had that heart. No matter, I don't care how it's going, he just looked like it was just perfect. And another thing I liked about him is he would always, I don't know how or where he get his information for, but I know it was from God, because I'll be pulling a basket or something, and he'll get up and he'll preach about somebody. This one person I know used to have a basket, and they would drag it all the way through town. I said, now who done told Monty I was dragging a basket? And then another time I was fixing a lot of tuna and stuff, and then I said, well, we're going to get through this, because I'll be able to buy, some gifts. Monty got up there and preached about how his mama used to fix a whole bunch of tuna just to get some dinners. I said, now somebody is telling him about what I be doing. I said, now this is something. Then I came in when I first got my glasses, and he was like, yeah, I remember when I used to wear those Coca-Cola bottle glasses. I said, Monty. He had his little way, but he kept you laughing. He brought the word. And then my daughter would be saying, Monty gonna take us all the way back to Oklahoma before he start preaching. He would tell us about every neighbor, everything in the town. I said, I like it, because I like to travel. That's my little way, going places. And he would have the slides up there to show you the place so you really feel like you was there. And I just liked how he would just, he was some kind of way. He would put that in his message, and he was real red. Because I said, I want to be a member. I went to the first class. Monty took me back to, I think when Jesus died. I was in there, looked like for hours, and we were just going through the Nazarene. I said, well, you know what? I would know Jesus more than I ever would know. I even had a book, and I was like, my goodness, Nazarenes sure have a lot. But I was just thankful how rooted he was, and he really was in the Bible. And I started getting some books out the library. I said, I want to study just like Monty be studying. And I said, I just thank God for this church. And I had been coming here. And this church helped me with my home, build my home. And it was a low-income house. And at the time, I was burnt out. And I thank God for this church because you guys helped build my house from ground up. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I thank God for that. We got to be thankful for whatever God do and all the works that we doing here. And a lot of people that been coming here, the Lord has blessed me to just connect with a lot of the homeless people and to really just, tell them about the Lord. And now when I see them, I'll give them a cover. I'll give them a coat. I even fix some food sometimes and pass it out. And I say they gave me a lot of love here to give the love that is in me to these people. And I say I thank the work of God that's being done here. And I say, I was just thinking about it, and I said, oh, they got people all over the world. But I'm going to give y'all the mic back. And and I thank God for his best friend, because he came and he said, I want to ask you, how did you and your husband get so close? I said, it was all done in the name of Jesus. And I said, I thank God for him and his son coming here, because that's a blessing. Thank you
very much. Appreciate it.
I'm Christina, and I was part of Monty's original youth group here. There was a big group of us here, which is awesome. Matt and I met in that youth group, and about 6 months before we got married, Monty and Janelle moved away to Oklahoma, and we very beggingly asked him to come back to marry us, and he did. And I just remember being at our rehearsal dinner, or our rehearsal, and I'm walking down the aisle with my dad, and I get up to the front, and all of the groomsmen have on those funny glasses with the noses and the mustaches, and Monty has on those Billy Bob buck teeth. And I will never forget those words that came out of his mouth. He says, "Who gives this heifer?" I immediately turned around and walked right back out of the church. And I'm told that he still talked about feeling so bad about that, but I will never forget that. That'll be one of my fondest memories of that man, especially with those Billy Bob buck teeth. But he was a very, very important person in our lives. He helped us when our marriage was failing, and he helped bring us back to where we could get to a point of getting back to where we needed to be. He was our pastor from youth group and on, and when he heard things were not okay, he said, that doesn't matter. He says, I was your pastor then, and I will always be your pastor. And so he will always be my pastor, no matter if he's here or not, and he will be in our hearts forever. Thank you.
North Dakota? One thing I remember with Monty, we had a request here about an old story. When we were doing youth ministry here on the district, during the camp, we decided we wanted to do something to have some fun with kids, and so we decided there'd be this thing called Peter Pit. And Peter Pit was a substitute for a deodorant. And we were kind of way ahead of our time because it was biodegradable and everything. And at one point we said you could share this with your friend, and I still remember licking Monty's underarm with Peter Pit. And it was good because we'd agreed that we were going to put a good thick layer. But then the problem was I was going to lick his head, and he hadn't shaved very well and didn't put a good covering. So as I licked his head, you could feel the hairs on my tongue. I've never done that with anybody else other than him. I have not licked anybody else's armpit. Okay, any other stories? Here we go. When did you guys get back?
I don't remember.
Okay, so you're not coming.
I just want to share something that happened last, Black Friday after Thanksgiving. I went to different stores and I had my husband driving me around, and every time I would text him, I'm at the cashier, or pick me up, come to the front. This went on all day long. We went to several stores. And then later in the day I realized Monty was getting all these text messages. I had used a previous text message between him, my husband, and me. And so later in the day, I texted him. I said, Pastor, I'm really sorry you were getting all these text messages. And he's like, I'm just glad everybody's okay. So I think I always remember that. But when he passed, I looked back because I really miss him on Facebook because I messaged him a lot. We had a lot of these conversations and a lot of what Wild Silas Tompkins talks about on Facebook. And I just had to giggle because a lot of the stuff we talked about, but the lighter ones were Harry Potter, chicken liver and gizzards. And we talked about that and a lot of other things. So I really miss that. He was someone I could always talk to when something was bothering me. So thank you.
Okay, unless there's anybody else, we're going to go ahead and shut this down. Okay, this is perfect. Come on over. Come on, ladies.
You want me to go first?
Go for it. Just got to make sure you hold it up to your mouth.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Okay. So, do I say my name? Okay. I'm Jasmine. Hi, Janelle. So my favorite memory of Pastor Monty was when we were going to that one movie, Inside Out, and he slammed Manny's fingers in the car door. And I was like, great, they were already crooked. And he was like, well, maybe I straighten them out. It was so funny.
I just wanted to say that I'm just so grateful to Monty. He always supported me. You guys always did, and you guys were always there for me. And just one of the things I remember, you guys would always make an effort to come to my games whenever I would play, and I'm just really thankful for that. So.
Hey everyone. So I'm Tomas. Hi. Anyways, we started coming here like 13 years ago, so it was towards the end of your stay here, of your first time here. And one of the things that, just on the serious side, one of the things that was that made an impression on me and Sandra was how you two, and I think this was touched on in the message, was how you two were in this ministry as a couple. And we were pretty young in our marriage, so we were only 3 years old at that time. But it was a lasting impact to us on how you two were in this together, and it was something that Sandra and I modeled. But so you guys left and were gone and everything, so we barely got to know you and connected with you. So you guys come back, and I knew Monty was coming back and everything, and didn't really know him, right? So I forget, it was on a Saturday or something like that. We were doing something, and I hadn't really reconnected with Monty. And I've been thinking about, okay, so how I'm going to introduce him. So it just so happens that Monty was walking from the main building into the Jones building, you know, and he was doing that walk, you know, fast pace. And And I was going to say, and he saw me, and he goes, and coming back from Hawaii, he was all mahalo, and I had no idea what that meant. And so my first words to him was, "What'd you say to me? What'd you call me?" And that was like the ongoing joke for forever. He would say mahalo. I said, "What'd you call me?" And he would say mahalo to Belicia. "What'd you call my daughter?" But just several things that I always will always enjoy and will look back fondly was how we could be guys. And Monty brought, and I think I brought it out of him, was the 13-year-old of us. And so Janelle's right now signaling 13, so that was like our little code word. It's like, oh, sorry, that was 13 coming out. But Monty was just that kind of person who you could just be, and he always said this, real, right? You could always be real with Monty. Can I always be real? Heck yeah. And it's like one of the things that I always look forward to when we were on mission trips, and it was just me and Monty in the car, and us having a conversation, and his music, his love of music, and it's ridiculous where his music goes to. But one place where I always had him beat was whenever we touched on Spanish music. I had him. But I just always enjoyed, he would drive, and I would just be switching music wherever, and we would just go everywhere. He would suggest this, I would suggest that, and gosh, I'm gonna miss that. And I was just having a joy pulling all the music down for today, and going on his Facebook page, and just what an awesome guy he was. I'm gonna lose it right now. So, Monty, we love you.
Good job, man. Okay. Is there anybody else? I don't want to cut anybody else off. This is last call.
I have a quickie, but a goodie. He had a way of making normal words sound totally inappropriate, okay? And we were right over there at the door, and I heard that he had gone to the doctor's, and he said, I was like, what's wrong, man? He said, well, the doctor had to examine my retina. I was like, he's like, oh yeah, I was an eye doctor. They had to examine my retina. So I can't say retina anymore without saying retina and then thinking about like something in this area of the body. So thanks, Monty.
Well, thank you. We just wanted to say thank you one more time. Appreciate you guys coming. Is there anything else, Janelle, you want me to, any directions? Jake, got some? Okay, all right. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for coming on out and supporting the family, being here to celebrate Monty. I know that he would be so excited that you all came, and just pray you guys have a great night. Drive safely, and we love you. Hey, if you could by any chance help us with chairs, just stack